Welcome to a special edition of Experts of Very Little. I'm with our friend, Mr. Scotty Mattison. Scotty, how you doing?
I'm good, Jake. How are you, man?
Doing good. So me and Scotty tonight, we both are big fans of wrestling, love wrestling. We're gonna talk about wrestling tonight and break down each bracket and just preview that tournament because it starts on Thursday and it's not March Madness, it's Matt Madness. So, how you feeling about it,
You,
Scotty?
man, this is like Christmas in my household. So, our whole week is planned around Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and culminates on Saturday night national championship. Last year, as an Oklahoma State fan, was as exciting as it possibly could have been with DJ Hamady upsetting Keegan O'Toole, and then Wyatt Hendrickson pulling off maybe the biggest upset in NCAA wrestling history over Gable. So expecting more awesome upsets for the Cowboys this year. They got a couple tough draws this year, but they got it going in the right direction. So very excited.
Yeah, you talked about that upset. Which one do you think was bigger? That one with over Stevenson or Ramos over Spencer Lee?
Oh man, probably recency bias and just the emotions and jumping around my living room last year while Wyatt Hendrickson did the unthinkable of taking down an Olympic champ, man. It's hard to top from my mind, being around the sport my entire life, growing up in it, to think that anything was bigger than Wyatt over Gable, except for maybe Dan Gable losing the last match of his
To
college career. That
Lenny
might be the
Owens.
only one. Yeah, that
Yep.
might be the only one that compares to me.
Yep. Dan Gable, legend. One match loss and then he lost and then Dan Gable also won I think his second match to ever lose, kind of a cool story, is to Bobby Douglas, who ended up going on to coach Kel Sanderson, who went undefeated in his career. So
Yeah,
it's
and
just
rest in peace, Bobby Douglas. He actually just passed away recently, and the wrestling community is mourning that loss for sure because he's a legend.
yep.
Oklahoma State, and then coached at Iowa State. That guy's a legend in the wrestling world.
Won a national championship for Arizona State in '88.
Yeah, he
But
did.
yep, I saw Iowa State's wearing T-shirts and stuff to pay homage to him. So, but you've been in wrestling since you've been a little one. I mean,
Yeah.
I got into it in school, wrestled in school. My kids are into it now. You got kids coming up, probably going to be in it. But so tell us about your story, your little wrestling journey, and your story about how you got involved in it and you've been in it.
Mine's a little bit unique. Having a dad that was a high school wrestling coach my entire life. I wrestled as a kid, but I did more following around his high school programs and stuff. Spent a lot of time at high school tournaments on a wrestling mat with his high school kids. That, when he was in Blackwell in the '90s, he had some dudes that were tougher than nails. And I tell stories all the time of running around wrestling tournaments and finding the biggest dude in the gym and going up and punching him in places I don't care to repeat. And my dad's wrestlers would be standing behind me going, "I bet you won't do nothing." And they wouldn't, because my dad's Blackwell dudes were tougher than crap. And then, in 2003, came to Veneta and was the head coach of Veneta for 20 plus years and had a ton of success. We were dual state runner up a couple times while I was his assistant. And coming up through the sport, went to the state tournament a few times, had some really tough losses to some tough dudes in high school that wish I could take it back. If I knew now at 35, if I knew then what I know now at 35 years old, I think I probably would have been a little more successful as a wrestler. But it taught me life lessons that through my 20s, through some life choices that weren't great, it taught me some life lessons that really got me through a lot of hard times in life, and now some lessons that I'm able to pass on to my boys and hopefully get them into the sport soon. And it's also, led me into some officiating opportunities that have been amazing. I've done the high school state tournament the last 3 years, officiated the 6A state finals the last couple years with some guys that are wrestling D1 wrestling now. Some of them that are in the national tournament this weekend, that I've got to officiate their state finals, and just some awesome opportunities in this sport that, man, taking me places that I probably would have never been by myself. So I owe a lot to wrestling. I encourage any kid that I run into to take off into the sport and never look back, because, sometimes it's not about how good you are, it's the lessons that you're learning from it.
Yep, that's exactly what it is. I like to describe it as beautiful chaos.
It
Beautiful.
sure is.
That's what I love wrestling, and youth wrestling tournaments is a big image of that, the beautiful chaos, constant yelling, and everything like that. But like you said, wrestling teaches you a lot of life lessons. I mean, it's mono e mono. There's no teammates to blame. There's no coaches to blame. It's you versus the other guy, and it's a lot of times it comes down to who has the bigger heart and who's just wants it more. But that's what life's about. I mean, you can't when you fail, you get back. You got to get right back up, and that's I mean that's why I love my kids wrestling. My 7 year old, he's been at it for this is his second year, and he's right now he just loves it. He eats it up and just part of it. So you mentioned you're refereeing. You just refereed the Oklahoma State tournament, okay? And you have youth level and stuff like that. Which one do you think is easier to ref, the high school level or the youth level?
The high school level for sure. Those guys, they know how to fall. They know how to land. They know how to finish. You get into a couple Saturday nights ago at the high school state tournament. I had a match at 106 pounds in 6A that was a nut cutter, man. It was an incredible match. And you get into those situations where they're difficult to officiate because of the adrenaline. You get so locked into it, and the scrambles are so good. But man, you get two 5 and 6 year olds out there scrapping that don't know which way's up, and it's hard. You throw up some points, and the position changes immediately. One guy's on his back, then the next guy's on his back, and you got little Johnny's dad that's halfway out on the mat telling you suck, and little Johnny's mom's worried about little Johnny getting his arms ripped off. Man, youth tournaments are chaos. I don't know how you
Chaos.
guys keep doing it, man. It is madness.
It's
It's where
it's Matt.
it's where kids learn, but it is crazy.
It is madness, and I knew you would say the high school level because of the fact that you just said the little Johnny's dad or mom right there. Like I've seen, and at times I've got a little frustrated with refereeing and stuff like that, and I've had to swallow my pride a little bit and step back and think, what am I doing? This is youth wrestling, but I've seen some coaches and parents just go absolutely psychotic at these events. Like, I mean, and I know I posted a picture of like my son when he got beat out at regionals. It was a mistake I made. Which some could say is a mistake, some could say it wasn't a mistake, but he's 7 years old. It was hard for me to make him stay at a certain weight when he was kind of struggling to stay at it. So we bumped him up, and he just wasn't as strong. And then in hindsight, maybe I should have made him stay at that weight, but it's hard to. That's a decision that a lot of parents, if you're going to get in wrestling, you'll have to make about, hey, should I just let my kid be comfortable or make him, make him make it maybe one more time. But it's as a dad, you know, morally, I felt like I made the right decision by, hey, no, you're going to be comfortable, you're going to eat. But then when he didn't make state because the kids were just bigger and strong, which he wrestled his butt off, he didn't get pinned. He battled, those kids battled, and those kids ended up getting second and fourth in state that eliminated him. So he wasn't wrestling those scrubs. But after that, as a competitor, it's like, man, did I make the right decision? But so that's a constant battle. Sometimes you, as a wrestling dad, that you'll battle.
Couple things to touch on there that you said that I think are important. Um, One is that to have any sporting event, we have to have officials, and where guys cut their teeth as officials is in youth sports. And when they go to officiate these youth sporting events, especially the kids that are 18 to 25 years old nowadays, they have other ways that they can go make money. I started officiating when I was 16 years old, doing some like t-ball games in Veneta, and it was because I wanted to make money. And nowadays, these kids can go make money other ways. And so when they show up to these youth sporting events and they get, for lack of a better way to put it, they get verbally abused. They're like, man, to heck with this. I'm not going to keep doing this. This is crazy. And so we have a lack of officials in every sport. And, people get sick of hearing that. And to be honest with you, man, my response to that is get better at your job and you're not going to get verbally abused by people. But that's a different subject. But we have to be conscious of the way we're speaking to these people. Dude, when I was helping my dad coach, I was an awful human being from the corner. I was terrible. And I see it now as on the other side as an official. But when I got into refereeing wrestling, I had to apologize to a whole bunch of people because I was a jerk when I was coaching with my dad. I was not a nice person. And I had to apologize to people, but I took that personally as if I don't want people to talk to me that way, I got to be good at my job. And so I strive to not get taken to the table by wrestling coaches because I want to be good at it. I'm not always, I'm obviously, I sit at home and my boy JR Blows, you'll get to watch him in a couple days on NCAAs. That's an official that I've grown up watching my entire life. We can sit at home and watch it on TV. I promise I'll scream at him 2 or 3 times about calls in OSU matches this weekend because I'm like, come on, but I'm not the one that's out there in the middle of that adrenaline filled position and making those calls. And then the other thing that you're talking about is cutting weight. Man, at 7 and 8 years old, no one's going to remember except you and him if he went to the state tournament or not. And kids quit wrestling because they cut weight too soon.
Yep.
I'm a firm believer in what that kid weighs. Let him. And wrestling starts in October for young kids and ends at the end of February. Kids at 7, 8 years old are gonna grow at that age. If they grow up to the next weight, let them wrestle the next weight. They're not. I mean, at 35 years old, sure, I wish I'd have done a little better at the state tournament, but it doesn't define who I am as a person. Wrestling defines who I am as a person because it taught me life lessons. So cutting weight at a young age, man, I'm like, I see kids do it. I see kids be really successful, but I could tell you a laundry list of kids that wrestled for us that were really, really good as young kids that pulled a lot of weight, that some of them didn't even finish wrestling in high school because they were over it. They were done. It's a grueling, just like you said, mano a mano sport that teaches you life lessons. Because when you get to be our age, you don't have a team to lean on. It's you, man. You got those life decisions to make, and it's you. So it's a
Yep.
hard sport. It's tough, and kids cutting weight at that age is, I don't love it. I'll be honest.
No, it's if it's cutting out a candy bar or pop, that I'm for that. Like, hey, let's do it naturally, stuff like that. But I've had a parent one time in football ask me, like, do you think trash bags? I said, nope, we're done having this conversation. I don't want to hear another word of it. Don't
No.
do it. I mean, because these kids are going to mature, they're going to hit their maturity and puberty and teenage years, and some of the bigger kids might get skinnier. Some of the skinnier kids might get bigger. You
Hmm.
just never know. But it's beautiful chaos. I love the sport. It's teaches a lot of life lessons, like you said. So I mean, and Scotty here, folks, he's a hell of a referee. He is a hell of a referee. Like softball too. He does the softball. He's good. He's good at what he does, and like he just said, he strives to try to not get complaints from coaches. And that reminded me of a story that I just saw from the on the Facebook site. I was at the game. He was interviewing some refs, and one of the refs said that his wife got tired of him always complaining about the calls and yelling at the refs. She said, "Well, if you think you're so good, why don't you go do it?" And so he got in the interview scene, and then he said, like you said, he realized real quick, oh my gosh, this ain't as easy as I thought it is. I mean, because I can only imagine being a ref. Like when I'm coaching the youth football or baseball, you've got all these fans looking at you. You're out there kind of on a lonely island a little bit, and then these kids too, they're out there with all these people watching, and then you got one ref that's supposed to control everything, and if anything goes bad, everybody's yelling at you. So it's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of pressure.
I will add this to that though, that it is a lot of pressure. It's hard, but I'll tell you, dude, that officiating softball and wrestling in particular. I do football too. Got my first football state championship this year. I was pretty proud of that. It was a lot of fun with a group of Vanita guys, which was even cooler. But uh, it's taken me places that I would have. I mean, I've been to California to do softball. I've been to Colorado a couple times. I've gone to Kansas City to do wrestling, and that's just it's taken me places, and I've got to see places that I never would have seen otherwise. So anybody that is considering officiating, I don't want it to scare them away from it because there's so many opportunities, dude. I got to stand next to Patty Gasso on a softball field and umpire one of her games. That was bucket list for me, man. That was actually the last softball game that I ever did, and I drove home for Norman and thought, life is complete. I don't need to do any more softball. I'm
This
good.
Yep, done. You met the goat.
I've stood on Love's Field and called for gas. So this is it. And so those opportunities are available. It is something just like anybody else, anything else that you work hard at and you put effort into and you invest in. I mean, I've made a lot of money doing it too. I'll just be honest. you can make some good money officiating sports. And young college kids or single men and women that don't have a family, it's a great way to give back to the sport. If my dad retired in Oklahoma and went on to Kansas, and that's when I got into officiating wrestling, because I didn't really want to be done with wrestling, but I knew I didn't really want to coach it anymore. And I had some buddies, some really close friends that had talked to me a lot about officiating wrestling, and I thought, you know what, let's do it. And man, I have fallen in love with it. I next season I'm going to take the college test and dip my feet into some college wrestling and see what happens. See if I can go get verbally abused by some college coaches.
That's funny. But you mentioned your dad. So your dad's been a high school coach for a long time. So you got to see him model kids, and you got to see how he coaches. So what do you think, if you were going to build a wrestling room, what type of coach would you be looking for? Like, because I know some people, and we've had it in youth. We've had our first couple of years in youth. We've had coaches that were hard nosed. We want to be physical. We want to be mean. We want to shoot through your face, and we want to pin everybody. And then this last year we had Boo Dryden, and then
Hmm.
Jadale Wetlock, and they're great coaches. They're more not in your face. Hey, we're going to wrestle.
Hmm.
We're more technical wise. We're going to teach. We're going to learn. Blah blah. Which both styles we were very successful with. But it's like, so what style or what type of coach would you be looking for if let's say you were an AD and you were going to make and hire to build your wrestling room in your program? What kind of type of coach would you be looking for?
First of all, you guys got a good thing going in Wyandotte, America, with Boo and Jay Dale over there. That was
Yep.
two good gets, man. Those two
Yep.
dudes are studs. So that was two good grabs right there. But you know, the sport has, from the 90s where I was talking about my dad and Blackwell, to 2026, the sport has changed a lot. And I see that officiating it probably more than anything else, that there's two styles. There's the Iowa style, in your face, run you down, run through your face type, keep you on the edge, and they're really successful with it. Today's day and age, there's a lot of ankle passing and roll throughs, and a takedown's not as easy to get as it was 15 years ago. And so I think it's just a preference thing. For me, I think that the technicians, they say this on the Flow podcast all the time, and I really agree with it. The technicians are always a step ahead of the scramblers, except for guys like, you got special talents like Sergio Vega and Jax and guys like that. But even Jax is on his offense all the time. He's not just looking to scramble. Serge is kind of a unicorn in that world, that no matter who he wrestles, almost all the time, he's a step ahead scrambling wise. To me, growing up with my dad's a technician. My dad he calls it the wrestling Bible. It's about this thick of every technique you could ever imagine. And so, I think there's a world where both are important. To me, it's about relationships, because as a wrestling coach, it's no secret that, the tides are shifting a little bit, but historically, wrestlers are always some of the ornery kids. They're the kids that you go pull out of
Yep.
the hallway, that you go get them out of detention or ISS or whatever, and say, hey, come down here and we'll teach you how to fight legally. It's an organized fight. And so those are the kids you got to make sure first that they know that you love them and you care about them, and you want to see them be successful. And then whenever you're able to build that relationship, they'll run through a brick wall for you. Then you can go through those 2 and 3 hour practices and push them to the brink, and make them realize that they have a little bit extra to give, whenever really otherwise they probably don't know that. You know what I mean? In football's 5 second goes. Basketball is a sport that takes a ton of conditioning because it's a ton of running, but you run down, you run a play, you run back down, you run a play. Wrestling, man, is 2 straight minutes in your face.
In your
You get
face,
about
nonstop.
yeah, you get a 10-second break and it's right back at it for two more minutes. So it's a sport where, like, conditioning is vital. And to get to that conditioning, you got to push dudes in the room past their limits. And you're not going to get dudes to go to that point if they don't know you care about them, if there's not a personal relationship there. And so, really, to answer your question, that was kind of a roundabout way of answering that question. But you to have a successful program, you need both. You got to
Yep.
have somebody in there that knows technique, that can teach, that just teaches. There's guys like, I mean, you think of my dad who's been in it for 40 plus years, and he's a technician. And I've always told him this, he'll never do it. I've always told him he would be a perfect like assistant coach at the college level, because a lot of times you see these college programs, they have a guy that teaches technique, and they have a guy that's the dude that's in your face beating the crap out of you during live and pushing you to your limits. And you have to have both. So if you were just hiring one looking for a head coach, I would say you probably need somebody that's a technician at least, because without technique, I mean, I can teach you to, anybody can come in. You can take a strength and conditioning coach, put them in a wrestling room and get guys in shape. But if they don't know how to wrestle, how good can you be?
You can't be good if you don't know how to wrestle. No, and you touched on it, building relationships. Once you get that relationship build, they will run through a wall. And I've lived that with it's just fifth grade football, fourth grade football, but I've lived that with some of these boys that they were kind of pushed off like, oh, you're nothing. But it's I built relationships with them partly because my boys are the same age, and the amazing things that these kids will do once they trust you,
Hmm.
once they know that you believe in them, they start believing in themselves. And well, head coach is going to be there no matter what, blah blah blah. Then you can be stern with them. Then you can rip their butt. But it's amazing what you see out of kids. And I think that's one thing that your dad was really good at, from what I've heard, is that he would take those rough around the edges kids, but he would build the relationships, and next thing you know, they're winning state title, they're placing that state and stuff like that.
Hmm.
But yeah, I think that's important to relate. But that's I love your answer. But you need both, and that's why, like you said, a lot of times you'll see the technician, and then you'll see one be the butthead. I mean, the mean guy.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
that's what you need. So on the college level, so you mentioned Iowa. Do you think their do you think their reign as a top three program is done? Do you think they need to make a change, or do you think it's just bad recruiting right now and stuff like that?
I don't know that I would ever say it's done, because they're Iowa and they've been competitive for so long. They'll continue to be competitive. I think it's starting to mirror what happened at Oklahoma State a little bit to me. Um, One thing that I saw recently, a quote that, and I don't know it verbatim, but I'll kind of summarize it. A quote from Brands that he said, the portal opens April 1st. And it was something along the lines of, we've got to vet these guys that we're bringing in a little bit better. And it was hard to think that it wasn't directed towards some of the like Parco that they brought in last year that laid an egg at nationals. And then you look at this year, they brought in Jordan Williams, who got in some trouble at Oklahoma State, went to Little Rock for a year and was pretty successful. Now he's at Iowa, has a pretty good year, and then all of a sudden doesn't go to Big Tens, and there's no explanation. They have Mo and Dean at 197, who is tearing it up this year, beats Cody Merrill at national duels. He's ranked in like the top 3 or 4, and then without any explanation is kicked off the team. Uh, I think what they were trying to do was really hit the portal hard, and I think they did a good job of it. They got talent out of the portal because they're Iowa, but that is such a box to fit in. Oklahoma State, man, you watch what they're doing right now. Their social media is top
Yep.
notch, and those dudes are having fun. Even like in their live practices where they're beating the crap out of each other, they're still having fun. Iowa, I'm not saying those kids aren't having fun, because I don't know. I don't know any of those dudes from the Man in the Moon, but the atmosphere around that program, it seems different. They're not like they don't seem like they're having as much fun. If I'm just being honest,
No,
it's
no,
serious.
you're right,
It's
because
serious all the time.
I've seen TikTok videos from the wrestling room of OSU, and then videos of Iowa's like room, and it's like a funeral compared to a party. And
And
it's like,
Iowa's new room looks like a basement. It's huge,
yes.
but it's
And
concrete all the way around. It looks like a freaking basement.
it just looks, it's just like, oh my gosh, it's like, just looks like death in there, like no
Yeah.
excitement or anything. Enoch said hi, Dad, that your wife commented on our
Hi,
YouTube channel.
Bubba.
But but no, so yeah, Iowa, I mean, because they're the breadwinner of all time, one of in the Big Ten, and then OSU, which I'm glad you mentioned OSU. I think made the. I don't. I think John Smith did them the right thing. I think John Smith knew, hey, my time's done.
Hmm.
Like I love this program so much. I need to hand it over to someone that's going to make the change. And you've seen it with David Taylor, like the excitement around it and everything. So
What
how
a
long?
blockbuster hire, dude.
Oh,
Holy
absolutely.
cow.
So
Unbelievable. I still remember exactly where I was when that happened and I got the notification. I was like, I didn't believe it. I thought it was satire. I was like, there's no way this is real.
well,
Just
because
unreal.
I know we were talking about it in our wrestling on our wrestling board and among coaches and stuff, and because I think everybody thought Coleman Scott was going to get hired because he was
Hmm.
building his farm academy there in Stillwater, and he left the North Carolina head coaching job to come be assistant. So everybody's thought, oh, that's a clear cut choice. But the longer it went on, I was thinking to myself, this ain't going to be an OSU guy. It's going to be someone outside of the program, and it was the Magic Man, and right now he's developing a little bit of magic.
And
So
to go get somebody from Penn State, like
yeah,
nobody had been pulled out of that fold. Kale had done such a good job of keeping everybody there. And to go get somebody from there and bring them to Oklahoma was just, I mean, that's almost what you had to do to be competitive.
yeah, yep. They
You know,
threw
we have
money
Oklahoma State still leads every men's college sport in America with national titles with 34. But Penn State is on a roll. It's no
on a
secret
roll.
that they are the cream of the crop in college wrestling right now. And so what do you do to get back to that competitive level? You go snatch somebody. You go snatch. Like I saw somebody recently that said Jack Forrest is to David Taylor what David Taylor was to Kel Sanderson.
Yeah,
And if you think about that, like the role that Oklahoma State's about to go on is starting to look pretty crazy.
yeah. So Penn State's won 11 of the last 12 or 13, I believe,
I think so.
because had one in there, and Ohio State had one in there, and then so that tells you OSU hasn't won one in 13 something years. I mean,
Hmm.
so it was
What was when was it 2009,
2000.
11?
I think it was 2011 maybe.
I
It's
think it
been
was
a
11.
it's been a while. Now they've had national champions, and last year you kind of saw that little bit of momentum that you can see with David Taylor, with like you said, with Wyatt Henderson and Dean Hamlin, and then they had Troy Spatling in the finals. But they had a chance to have three national champs. I mean, so
Hmm.
so
We
that
haven't
leads
seen
me.
that in Stillwater in a hot minute.
So it was a exciting time, and I've last couple of years we didn't get to go this year because my son had a travel basketball tournament. But every year at the day after the state tournament, our club we take him to the OSU duel. It's always at home in
Hmm.
Stillwater, and that environment is electric. It's just
Man,
great. And then Iowa was the one that came this year, and they manhandled them. So so that leads me to my next question: how long, or if you think it will happen, how long do you think it will be until OSU is on par, or it is a battle every year to win the national championship with Penn State?
when they hired him, I told my boy Harley that it would be 3 to 5 years. And this is year two. They're not going to push him yet. But man, if you start to look at the guys that are coming in to Oklahoma State with Drayshawn Ross at heavyweight, the Rainey twins, they've got some kids coming in at 125 that will redshirt next year and then will make an impact the year after, like Rockland Zinkin, Nas Senor out of Stillwater, and then Drayshawn, the Rainey twins. They just signed a kid, Lad Holman. I can't remember where he's out of. Utah, maybe. He's in like the top 40 nationally. They've got dudes coming in. It's starting to look like Oklahoma State of old and also Penn State right now,
Yeah.
where you've got dudes that would all American for other schools that can't make the team. And it's as an Oklahoma guy, it kind of sucks because there's guys like Carter Young who are leaving that are going. He's in at Maryland now and qualified for the national tournament. You got guys like Kel Hughes that are still there but can't make the team. Who's an Oklahoma kid that everybody in Oklahoma loves.
JJ
Uh,
McCollum.
JJ, that's Jersey Rob is not there anymore. I mean, the list goes on. There's guys that are Teague Travis wrestled at the Big 12s for Mizzou, and he left Oklahoma State at semester.
Yep.
He went to the national tournament last year on a bum knee and almost All-American for the Pokes. So, but it's starting to look like that's how it used to be. My dad tells me stories all the time of John Smith back in the heyday of Oklahoma wrestling. He would recruit 3 or 4 Oklahoma kids at the same weight, and they'd just beat the crap out of each other till one of them started. But back then, there wasn't the transfer portal, and those dudes were loyal to Oklahoma State, so they just stayed. And it's starting to look that way. So to answer, I really think maybe not next year, but probably the year after. So, if you count this year, 3 more NCAA tournaments. So what would that be? 2028. It's
2028.
it's
Yep.
it's going to start to get competitive because Oklahoma State's starting to take the recruits that would be at Penn State.
Yep.
The Rainey twins. Another one that's kind of a dark horse that makes you a little bit nervous is Virginia Tech is starting to get some dudes
They're
with
starting to recruit. Yes.
Bo and Melvin going there. I'm sure Keegan will go too. That's Bo's little brother. They're starting to get some dudes, so they'll start to. I think they're probably one step down from Oklahoma State, Penn State, but I do the gap between the Cowboys and Penn State is going to get smaller, and the gap between everybody else, I think, is going to get bigger
Yep.
because those two programs are just
I
still.
can.
I mean, Penn.
Yes. Penn State's not
So
going nowhere. They're not going
no,
nowhere.
they're not. They're not going anywhere.
That will
And
in a
it
couple of
makes me
years.
think. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead, Scotty.
It makes you think of Iowa when you're talking. Just thinking about the brands. If they want to keep up with that echelon, those two dudes are probably going to have to go. And everything I've heard is being just around the wrestling community is that Doug Schwab that's at Northern Iowa is kind of on tab. He wants that job, so I guess we'll see.
Yeah. So another program that's ain't been on the radar in forever, but is one of the blue bloods of the sport is our other state school, Oklahoma. Do you ever see them even being a top 10 team ever again?
Yeah, I do. I think they could. They've gone through a string of coaches that they've went and got from other places. Um, Kish does a pretty good job that's there now. He's done a pretty good. He got some guys out of the transfer portal. They had some injuries this year. They had Peyton Keller that transferred in from Ohio, who's an All-American, who's had a pretty tough year. He's done a good job of recruiting Oklahoma. He's got some good Oklahoma kids. 2 of them started, Leighton Snyder and oh goodness, I'm not going to remember the other one. 2 true freshmen, or maybe sophomore Oklahoma kids. Hunter Hollingsworth, um, came from Edmond North. That are both really tough Oklahoma kids. And I think Kish is trying to do a little better job of recruiting Oklahoma. I think if
That's
he'll continue to lean into that, he'll be able to build that program.
that's
It's gonna take the good Oklahoma kids because now Oklahoma State's recruiting nationally. There's not going to be as many Oklahoma kids that are going to be at Oklahoma State. It just
no.
is what it is.
I think on this the roles reverse of like the football recruiting for OU and OSU is for years the complaint's been OU doesn't take enough Oklahoma kids. Well, they're recruiting nationally.
Hmm.
They're getting Florida kids, California kids, Texas kids, where OSU was taking all the Oklahoma kids and having success. So I think that's kind of in this. The roles will be reversed where if Kish loads up on these Oklahoma kids and goes with that, I think he will have a lot more success. So yeah, I'm with you on that. And I'm glad you mentioned something about like the OSU about like your dad said they recruit 3 guys at the same weight. What a lot of people don't understand and what a lot of kids, younger kids don't understand is you got to have good teammates to push you. You
Hmm.
got you got to be getting beat up and getting pushed in that room every day. I mean, if you're just beating up on someone every day, then you're not the best there is because if you're the best there is, you're going to get beat up every now and then. I mean,
Well, that's where you've listened to the Penn State guys for years now. When they ask them about like a Big Ten finals match or an NCAA finals match, the reoccurring theme of what they say is, "I've been wrestling guys tougher than this in the room all year. Like my live goes in the room are arguably tougher than the guy that I just wrestled at NCAAs." As an Oklahoma State fan, that would kind of get under my skin because they'd wrestle an OSU guy, and I'd be like, "Well, that's kind of arrogant."
yeah,
But now that Oklahoma State's kind of in that same stratosphere now of Guys like Sergio Vega and Serge and Swiderski say it all every time they interview them. Yeah, dude, like we're prepared for anything because we just beat the crap out of each other in the room every day. And so when you look at it that way, to where especially the upper echelon, the D1 college rooms, those dudes are just beating the brakes off each other every day. And if you think about it into high school wrestling, obviously a school you take Wyandotte or Veneta, smaller schools into consideration, and they're really good guys. There's two or three of them in each school, and they're just kind of beating on each other, and it gets old pretty quick, right?
Yeah.
You go to Stillwater or Edmond North, or those dudes are fighting for a starting position every day because they're two or three deep at every weight. So it's a different world, and you relate that to the college level. It's kind of the same thing as you know you're sometimes you're only as good as your practice partner.
So before we move on to each bracket, because we're going to break down each bracket, we're going to give who we think is going to win it, who our dark horse maybe champion could be, and then someone that we is not in the top 8 that we think we could be projected the All American. So on this touch on our state. Do you think our state championship tournament needs to get bigger? Do you feel like it's too small, like not enough in the bracket?
I wish they would just go to it would be a little bit logistically look a little bit different, but I wish they'd do away with the wrestle-in matches. I don't I think the wrestling matches are kind of dumb myself, but either go to what the answer would probably be top 8. So either do 4 regions and take top 4 from each one, or do top 8 from each regional and just put them on a 16-man bracket. A 12-man bracket, it looks a little bit different because guys get buys and that kind of thing. Um, I don't know.
I would like to see
When
them go 16.
yeah, it waters down things a little bit, I would say, and it takes away from the honor, the achievement of being a state qualifier. Whenever like when we were in school, it was top 8 went. It was
Top,
4 from
yeah,
each side,
4 from
4
each.
from
There
each
was
side, and that was it.
no
It was an
wrestling.
8-man bracket. I liked the idea of the wrestling matches because it got more butts in the seats. It got more kids to the state tournament. Uh, but now that they've done it, I'm not a huge fan of it. Uh, I the other thing, just quickly touching on our state tournament, I had this conversation there this year. They did like 1 year of full day Thursday, full day Friday, full day Saturday, and now they've gone back to like starting in the evening on Thursday. Absolutely hate it. You get all geared up, and then you have like a couple matches for wrestle-ins, and then you go to the hotel and you got to start back over
Yeah,
again Friday. And then, dude, Friday night this year, I walked off the mat from my last match at like 11 p.m. At the state tournament. We were wrestling the state semifinals
at
at
11.
10:30
Yeah,
and 11 o'clock at night. And I mean, this isn't anything that, I'm pretty close with Wes, who is over wrestling at the OSSA. This is something we've talked about. So, but just why not move it up to noon on Thursday, have the wrestling matches, and then wrestle the first round matches at 6 o'clock Thursday night, and then we're not wrestling until 11 o'clock at night on Friday night. So
no.
there's a couple of things but to that point, that I don't know if you've been to the new arena yet, but that sucker's
Oh yeah.
sweet.
Oh,
So
it's beautiful. That's where we had
yeah.
our state championship at this year. One thing I love is there's different food at every little place,
hmm
but it
The
is a
fan
beautiful.
experience is so good.
Oh,
I walked up there, man. It's great.
it's a beautiful arena. Every seat's good. There's not a bad view. I mean, so. But all right, well, now we're going to move on to our brackets. We're going to start with the 125 bracket. Let's get moved to this screen. And this one is, I think there's a clear cut favorite, but there's it could be some tricky matchups because you have to defend the national champion that is the 12 seed.
Yeah.
So that's kind of rough for him. I mean, but he didn't have as good as a year, but he kind of came out of the blue last year as a 4 seed and won the whole thing. So
hmm
I mean, like Luke is the favorite. Lightning Luke is the favorite, and if I had to pick one, it would be him. But if my dark horse to win it would probably be Vincent Robinson because he's already done it. He won it last year. The belt. The bad thing is he's on the of Luke. What's also on that side is Troy Spratling. They kind of got some bad draws, and a lot of times in these tournaments and these even at the youth level, a lot of times your success in the tournament depends on your draw. And both of those two did not get a very good draw because Steve Opolo's on that side, and he just was runner up in the Big 12.
If you're Vincent Robinson, you just want to be on any side of the bracket that doesn't include Eddie Ventresca, because he cannot beat Ventresca for whatever reason. But if you're Troy Spratley, that was not who you wanted to see in the second round, because Troy can't seem to find Vincent Robinson's numbers. So that this weight, man, out of every weight every year, this is the weight that's always hard to predict. Luke Lillidahl was the favorite last year and got beat pretty early on, and I think he came back and finished third, if I'm not mistaken, but he got beat pretty early on, and so you never know at 125. It's a hard one to predict. I'll tell you who my two finalists were, because I do remember. I forgot my brackets. I filled out brackets and I left them at home, but I know it this way. I had Jory Volk, the Wyoming transfer that's at Minnesota
I was going
now.
to say I was going to say I was going to have Luke and him in the finals.
That's my finals matchup. I think Troy gets past Vincent Robinson this time. That might be my Cowboyism coming through. I think Troy will make the semis. I think he'll beat Sheldon Seymour. But again, Sheldon Seymour's a guy that's in the 4 seed that's undefeated. That guy hasn't been beat. So,
Nope.
125 is always a crazy weight. You can predict it, and you could probably predict it 10 different ways, and it might not go any of the 10. Nick Bouzakis, Friday night in the quarterfinals or in the semifinals, or which one is? Hold on, I got to look at a bracket.
Nick is on the top side of Eddie.
But what's the schedule? The quarterfinals are Thursday night.
No,
the semifinals are Friday night, right?
The semifinals are Friday night. Yes,
Friday night. Okay,
and then they will do 3rd through 8th place Saturday morning. Yes.
Yeah. So any of those matches, if you get Nick Bouzakis, you want to get Nick Bouzakis in the morning, right off the scale. Because if you get Bouzakis in the evening, that dude's going to weigh freaking 150 pounds. If he makes the NCAA finals, he might weigh 160 by the time the finals start. He's huge. I don't know how he ever made 25. So, Bouzakis, if a guy can run into him early in the tournament, might catch him to where he's sucking weight and he might be in trouble. But if you get that dude in the evening, you're in trouble, because if he gets to your body, it's night. That dude gets a body lock and you're in trouble.
Yep.
Go
what
ahead.
Were you gonna say? No, what were you going to say?
I was going to point out the 27 seed Brady Rourke. That's a Seneca guy.
That's what I was going to say. That's what I was about to say too. That's crazy that you're thinking Brady Rourke, Seneca, local flavor for me and Scotty. I'm 10 minutes away from that town. Scotty's probably about 30 minutes away from that town.
Yeah.
He that family is legacy wrestling. His older brother went to Missouri. Never always battled injuries and stuff like that. But that's a wrestling family. They got a lot of big trophies in their.
Yeah, it was cool to see him have some success at Big 12s. I don't know him real well, but being close enough, I know the name, and seeing him have success was cool.
I just know the name from being in this area, because Seneca is a local power, a small class in Missouri in our area. But so my champion will be Lightning Luke. My dark horse to win it will be Vork. And then the guy outside of the top 8 that I think will All-American is Steve-O Poland.
Okay. I'll go. It's hard for me to pick against him. I think Lillidahl gets it done this year. My dark horse champ. Ooh. My dark horse champ is probably Spratley, because I do think there's a chance that he can give Lillidahl some problems. He wrestles the kind of match that he could push it to a 1 takedown match late and find a way to get to one. So my dark horse probably is Spratley. He's been to the finals before. He knows what it looks like. One that my outside of the top 10 All-American is the guy we haven't talked about at all. He is the 26 seed, I think. Yeah, Cooper Flynn. He's at Chattanooga now. He's a Minnesota transfer. out of the 26 seed. I've got him finishing 8th in my bracket.
That's a good pick.
We
Now
shall
we're going to move
see.
to 130. Yeah. Now we're going to, hey, you never know. Like Chaos, which ain't even wrestling this year from Penn State, he lost his first match 2 years ago, ended up getting third. You
Mm-hmm.
just never know in this tournament.
Man, it's
I mean,
crazy.
a couple years ago, OU had the 17 seed. I can't remember his name, and he All-American.
Mm-hmm.
You just, I mean, so now we're to 133, which this is probably got the most exciting wrestler in college wrestling right now, and Jax Forrest as the 1 seed, who should be getting ready for his graduation of high school. That just tells you how skilled he is. But then you got the two seed in Ben DeVito. I mean, it's just this bracket is it's loaded. I mean, your top 4 seeds, any of them can win it. It's got a little bit of local flavor for us in Oklahoma with the Gage Walker, who in person, when seeing him in high school, I remember messaging you about 4 years ago, like, how good is this kid? And you said, oh, he's real good. So I went to a duel to watch him, and he is in live in person. He was the best I've ever seen my eyes on, which he came and did a wrestling camp for a program last year. And I think he's going to come back this summer and do one for Wyandotte and hopefully brings Cam Steen with him. So
I'll tell you what my
he's
thought on Gage has been really quick. I coached against him when I was at Veneta, and boy, he was a thorn in our side. He kicked our butt every time we wrestled him because that was when he was at J before he transferred to Bixby. And what I always said was I thought his style would translate really well to college because he did a good job of winning close matches. He didn't get himself out of position. He didn't always have a ton of offense, but he stayed in great position. And what I've seen from him since he's gone to Mizzou is he's found more offense and he still stays in good position. And it's translated well for him. So it's exciting to see that kid have a lot of success because he used to kick our butt when we were at Veneta, much to our dismay.
he what they say in wrestling, you got to wrestle every position.
Mm-hmm.
So speaking of Gage, that's my guy. I think is going to All-American outside the top 8. He's a 19 seed, had success. I mean, thought he was going to redshirt this year, but I guess he decided not to. But that's my pick. But you got the defending 2-time national champion in Lucas Bird, or is it just one time?
One time. He won it
One time,
last year.
okay. Last year. Well, the guy with the 7-foot girlfriend, he's a 7 seed. 7 seed.
Yeah.
Lost 2 matches in the Big 12 or the Big 10, got upset, and then did he medical forfeit that last one, or did he just get beat?
I think he got beat.
So I mean, and then you got Drake
Ayala.
Drake from Iowa. Ayala. He was a national finalist last year. Kept that streak going for Iowa, which I do think, and we'll talk about that later because that'll be my pick. I do think the streak of Iowa having a national finalist will continue.
Okay.
That's a wait later on. But this, I mean, Zane Fugit, it's a Missouri guy. He from Wisconsin. That could be a tough matchup for Jax if in the second round because that guy, I think he All-American or got close to All-American last year. I mean, he went on a little bit of a run. I mean, and then the 8 seed. I mean, it's just this bracket is, to me, it's loaded.
When I looked at this one, man, this one was hard to pick. Yeah, this one was hard. And by the way, talking about picks, got to shout out the wife, man, coming in clutch. Sent me pictures of all my brackets I filled out. Oh. Coming in clutch, baby.
Big time.
Had to shout her out, man. She's taking care of me. Obviously, she's listening, so I had to give her the old shout out.
Yep. Hey, sometimes our biggest fans are our kids and our wives.
You bet.
My kids love it. My dad just asked me today, how many subscribers you got on YouTube? I said, we got 118. Oh my God, Dad, that's awesome. That's just awesome. It's like, so it's great that they support and watch. But you got Marcus Blaze. He's a big time high school recruit there at Penn State.
The one thing you said that gets overlooked to me is that the top 4 seeds at this weight, you were talking about how good they were. They're all freshmen at a weight where the returning national champ and the returning national runner-up are in the weight, and the returning national champ was undefeated going into Big Tens. And the top 4 seeds are freshmen. One of them was in high school 3 months ago, and he's the favorite to win it. It's nuts, dude. We talked about how long I've been in the sport, how long I've been around it. Never seen anything like it. It's madness.
Well, our coach, youth coach, Boo Dryden, we were talking to him because he won a national championship at NEL, and then he qualified for this tournament at Minnesota. And so, when he'll tell you right now, it's big time to make it. But then we were talking to him. I said, what do you think about the state and age of the sport? And he said, man, it's just different because you used to not have freshmen come in like this and just dominate. Like Kel Sanderson wasn't a true freshman; he was a redshirt. He said most of the time the guys would redshirt, and then they would have a year in the program and year in the strength and training and nutrition and stuff like that. And he said, then they'd come in and win. He said, but you got true freshmen, guys out of high school. Like I said, Jack should still be in high school right now, and he's coming out just exciting. And I think Jax is going to ride the momentum that we saw in the Big 12 because he just took it to a new level in the Big 12. I think he's going to ride it to the finals, and I think he's going to be against Marcus Blaze.
Okay.
And I think Jax is going to. I don't know where they're going to start at the NCAA finals. I don't know what weight they're going to start at, but if this is an early matchup, I think Jax is going to give a shot of energy to the other OSU finalists to maybe try to make a little bit of a run. I think Jax will win it. Blaze will be my runner-up, and then my dark horse that could win it is Jacob Van D for Nebraska. Because Nebraska's got a good program. So, and he's had success before, and you just never know. But the guy outside of the top 8 that I think will All-American is Gage Walker.
Okay. My pick, dude, from what I've seen, I was Matt's side at the Big 12 finals 2 weeks ago against Larkin. And I'm telling you, the 5 seed Carter Larkin, that dude is a stud. Him and his brother are legit. And what Jax did to him on the stage in the BOK Center was unreal. And that walking away from that match, I said that there's nobody that can beat him. I'm interested to see it. I want to see him wrestle those guys. But what those other dudes do, with the exception of Divino a little bit, is they're really defensive. And every guy that Jax has wrestled like that, he puts it on them. I mean, Larkin's a stud, and he embarrassed him. Julian Farber out of the 20 seed is a guy that's been so consistent for you and I. And Jax has absolutely dismantled that dude twice this year. I don't see any way anybody beats him. I might be wrong come Saturday night, but my chips are in the middle of the table with Jax Forrest, baby. And I'll just, for the record, in December, in October, November, December, when that started getting talked about, nobody believed me. It ain't gonna happen. There's no way they'll do that. And the entire time I said, you wait and see, Jax will go to nationals. So just throwing that out there, I called it along with about a million other people probably, but
no, well, David Taylor knew.
Yeah, DT knew all along. I did, full transparency, on my bracket I'm looking at, I picked Divino to make the finals. The more I've thought about it, I do think there's a chance that Blaze gets to some offense earlier in the match than he did at Big Tens, and maybe turns that match around. I kind of hope it's Divino because Jackson's always beat Divino, and he struggled a little bit more with Blaze, I do believe. So as an Oklahoma State fan, either one of them is going to be a marquee matchup. Here's the thing. Divino's got to beat Lucas Bird in the quarters. Lucas Bird's been there, done that. So that'll be interesting. I didn't really pick a dark horse All-American. I will say I picked Van D to finish 8th. So that's probably my
That's your dark horse.
That's probably my dark horse. Looking at the bracket, man, it'd be super cool to see Gage Walker All-American. I think that would be awesome. And I'm telling you, the dude in the 28th seed, the freshman from Iowa State, Grice, I watched that guy at Big 12s, and he's going to be a problem. I don't know that he's going to All-American, but he's going to give some people some problems. So he'll be fun.
Make some noise.
Yeah, he'll be fun to watch. So that's a fun weight, man. That's, the debate all year has been what's the best weight, 33 or 57. And looking at that bracket, it's hard to beat.
I think it's 33.
It's hard to beat.
I think the star power at 33 is good. Now we're going to move on to 141, which is a weight that for some reason, Penn State can't get figured out. Really, this is
Yeah.
the one weight that they are not favored in. I don't even know if he's favored to make an All American and Brendan Davis. Which I mean, you got Jesse Menendez as the number 1 seed. You got Sergio Varga as the number 2 seed. Varga hasn't gave up a takedown all year. He's in the no takedown club. So, but he's a freshman. Ain't been there. Ain't done that. Menendez has won a national championship. And then you got Brock Hardy at the 3 seed that Vega would have to beat. I think Vega's already beat him one time this year at the national duels. But I mean, this is a different animal. It's 3 days of hard wrestling. It's the battle of nutrition in there. So is Vega going to be able to hold up in that aspect? And I do not believe he will be able to. I think he will fall short of making the finals. I do think Brock Hardy will get him in the semifinals. My finals picks is Brock Hardy versus Jesse, but I think Jesse will repeat as the champion.
I do think Jesse will win it. In my opinion, the tougher match for Sergio Vega is the quarters against Nasir Bailey. Bailey looked really good at Big
Yeah,
Tens. When the matches with Bailey have been much closer than the matches with Brock Hardy. Brock Hardy wrestles the exact same style as Sergio Vega, and Vega's better at it. Brock Hardy is a perfect matchup for Sergio Vega. Guys like Nasir Bailey that don't do much are the ones that are really difficult. Here's the thing. Sergio Vega was putting it on people early in the season, and then the matches started to get closer because
closer.
people stopped shooting because they knew that if I shoot on him, he's going to make me look stupid. So they started standing in front of him. You've been able to see the frustration from Sergio Vega because of that. Uh, I'm more concerned about the quarterfinals. I think he'll get past this year. Uh, I do think he will make the finals. I don't think he'll beat Jesse Mendez. I want him to. Man, dude, I want him to win that match so bad. It would be amazing. And I hope I'm wrong. As a Pokes fan, I hope I'm wrong, dude. I want him to win, but he's got that. I'll tell you where the what convinced me. I was at the Oklahoma State Northern Iowa duel, and I leaned over to the guy next to me and I said, it was the guy that wasn't really a wrestling guy, and I said, he hasn't given up a takedown all year. On cue, he gets blast doubled. He's sitting on his butt, has a hold of nothing, and the guy's coming at him, and he catches him like this, going to his back. Somehow ends up getting a takedown instead. I wish I had the clip, dude. I would show it to you. One of the craziest no takedowns I've ever seen. And the guy looked at me and said, "Bro, you probably should be quiet and quit saying that out loud." But he's like Houdini, man. Just when you think you have him, he finds a way to weasel his way out of it. So I think he probably makes the finals. I don't know that he beats Jesse. Jesse's a dog. I really like Brock Hardy as a person, so it's hard to root against him. But I like I said, I'm more worried about this year. When you start looking
Yeah.
at like dark horses at this weight, there's quite a few of them. Ryan Jackson,
Yeah.
16 seed. That dude's tough from NC State. Then you've got Pearson Manville in the 28, who's not had a great year, but the dude's legit. Stanich is the 5 seed. He's tougher than this is a good weight. Julian Tagg's the 20 seed. I mean, there's
Well, and he's got a good matchup with White Henson, who's a 13
White
seed.
Henson.
His his dad's the old national championship at Clemson, Sammy Henson's boy. I mean, then you got the dude out of Cornell. He's lost one match all year. I mean,
Composto's the
it's
11 seed. He's been an All-American before. I'm just looking down through it. I mean, Eli Griffin from he's a Cassia Hall boy, went out to Cal Baptist for a few years. He's at Ryder now. He's in the
Ryder. Yep.
15. Man, that is a incredible family. And I would love if there's any, and I'll just say this, there's a lot of Oklahoma kids. If there's any Oklahoma kid in any of these brackets that I want to see All-American and place above his seat, it's Eli Griffin. That family has been so good to my family. I know his dad personally. Great, great people. And I will be a Ryder fan for Eli Griffin this weekend because I want to see that kid be successful. That's my
So
dark
no
horse
good
pick.
stuff.
I don't know if it'll
That's
happen,
our
but
dark
that's
horse.
my
Yeah.
dark horse pick.
See, my dark horse pick you already mentioned is Nasir Bailey.
Yeah.
I think. I mean, because he's skilled. He's very skilled. He's very skilled. Now, I mean, I do like Brock Hardy over Vega because of the aspect you said is second time he's wrestled him, and people have got more patient with Vega, and those matches have got closer. And another guy we're going to talk about for OSU, you can see the frustration and his success at the end of the year kind of went down to another freshman that we'll talk about in a little bit. But my guy outside of the top 8 that I think will All American is Wyatt Henson.
Nice.
Okay, now we're going to move on to 140. If it will load.
This might be like what 125 normally
149.
is. Yeah. This is a crazy weight.
Yep.
There's about 10 dudes in this bracket that could win it.
Yeah, I mean, you got a lot of experience. I mean, you got Jacob Frost, the 16 seed at Iowa State. He's no cakewalk. I mean, Casey Swiderski from OSU, the 8 seed, he could win the whole dang thing. I mean, if he's on top of his game. I mean, you got the Voltec guy as a 4 seed, and then the Penn guy at the 3 seed. I mean, this
weight's crazy.
This is Radican from Northern Iowa is no cakewalk. This is Ethan Stiles from Ohio State. He's the 7 seed. I mean, Jackson Joy's lost one match all year. He's a 2 seed. And then you got Ryder Block from Iowa. Just because he's he's going to compete because he's from Iowa.
Yeah, you don't know what
I got to give the
you don't know what you're going to get for Ryder Block. It's like you never know.
I mean, that's one thing I will give the Brands brothers is their guys compete. They compete.
They go hard.
They do. I mean, they go hard. I mean, Shane Van Ness is undefeated. Does he finally win one? Does he? I mean, because a couple of years ago he's injured. I mean, so this is a tricky bracket to pick. I do not believe Van Ness makes it to the finals. I believe he gets upset by Casey Swiderski from OSU.
I think Swiderski might beat him. Here's the thing about Van Ness.
Yeah.
Van Ness pushes guys till they break. He even did it to Ryder Block at Big Tens. Block had him beat at Big Tens. And my boy J.R. Bloss made an incredibly good call. It was a gutsy call, but it was the right call. Block had Van Ness beat, and Block just kept backing up. J.R. hit him for stalling, and you get so many stall calls in college before one of them. It's in high school too. It's 1, and then 2 points. He hit Ryder Block for stalling.
Lackland from Michigan had him beat.
Yeah. He hit him. So, he hit Block. Block was winning by 1. Like 6 seconds left in the match, he hits him for stalling 2 points, and Van Ness wins the match. So another one that you just mentioned that is Lachlan McNeil's in this weight too. Who's that dude's had a ton of success. That's who Swiderski beat at the All-Star Classic at the beginning of the year.
Mm-hmm.
I did pick, much to my dismay. I think there's a really good chance that the ski gets it done against Van Ness in the quarters. Old Swiderski, but. I picked on my bracket on paper. I picked Van Ness and Joy to make the finals, and Joy beating Van Ness. I'm not confident in it because I really think Swiderski might beat him. Because Swiderski's the guy that could wrestle for 45 minutes and not get tired. So we'll see. This weight's not the toughest weight, but it could be the most fun to watch because there could be some absolute chaos here.
Oh yeah, you can. I mean, like I said, Ethan Stiles is 7 seed, but I'm going Swiderski to make the finals, and I'm going to have him beating Jackson Joy.
The ski, baby.
Got Swiderski. I got him winning. My dark horse to win it would be Lachlan McNeil.
Yeah,
and then
it's a good pick.
And then my guy outside the top 8 to All-American is Carter Young from Maryland.
You stole mine. I got Carter.
Hey, use it too. Yeah,
I got Carter finishing 8th. He's a guy that gave a lot to the Oklahoma State program and just couldn't quite crack into the lineup and has been pretty successful since he went to Maryland.
Yep, I think he'll have a good tournament. I think he'll get top 8. Now we're going to move on to 157. And this is led by the number 1 seed, another Penn State guy, PJ Duke. Antrell Taylor, the defending national champion, is number 2 seed. Let's talk about that. that tournament that Nebraska put on last year was so exciting and fun. And then you got the Larkin brother at the 4 seed, and then Meyer Shapiro, the 3 seed.
That was one of the worst.
Remember that name?
That was one of the worst ones, I thought, to be honest, because he got beat last weekend at the conference tournament by a dude that's seated below him. How's that happen?
Well, remember that name because that's my national champion pick.
That's your pick?
For this bracket. That's my pick to win the national champion is Meyer Shapiro. I think he will beat Landon.
Oh, got Robidoux making the finals.
Robert, I think it will be Shapiro or Robidoux over the finals. I think my dark horse to outside of the top 8 to 2 All-American, and I believe he All-American last year at Maryland, but now he's at Virginia Tech, is Ethan Miller, who's to me is kind of seated a little low.
Yeah, Ethan Miller's tough. I'll tell you who I picked to win this weight. And after watching him in the Big 12 finals against Landon Robidoux, I was thoroughly impressed. Bumped up from 149 to 157 in the middle of the season. I think Larkin wins this weight. And I think he wrestles Shapiro in the finals. I think the Antrell Taylor cat and mouse game comes to an end. I got Antrell Taylor finishing 6th because listen, I'm just gonna put. I don't have a whole lot of respect for Antrell Taylor's game. I think he plays cat and mouse. And you know what? Some could say that there's at least one dude on the Oklahoma State roster that does a little bit of the same thing, but he. I just don't like the way he wins. There's not a lot of offense. He stands around a lot, and it drives me nuts. So I think Larkin wins it. Larkin is a stone cold.
He's good, man.
Is a stone cold killer, dude. He walks out and just there's no emotion. There's no that dude is tough. And then I got Duke finishing 3rd and Robidoux getting beat by Duke for 3rd and 4th. My dark horse, I gotta see. Where is Cannon Webster seated? I picked where's he at?
Cannon is
he's the 7th seed. That's not a dark horse. Okay. I got him finishing 8th behind Jude Swisher.
Well, you know, another guy that's kind of seated low is Ty Waters.
Yeah, well, that's it. I got Waters finishing 5th. I forgot he was the 11th seed.
That kid's a stud too. I mean,
there's some dudes in this weight. Gavin Drexler from North Dakota State is the 28th seed, and that dude's tough. That's who Robidoux in his first round. That dude's been there, done that. He's been to the national tournament multiple times. There's one other one I was just looking at. Logan Rosinski, the 10 seed, beat the brakes off of Antrell Taylor at national duels this year. Yep. That dude's tough too. So Waters. I think Waters finishes high though. He's not going to finish 11th.
He's good. But you know, your national champion pick is got to give a shout out to Arizona State. They have a pretty good program down there.
Zeke's doing a good job.
In a state that's like, I don't even know if they have high school wrestling.
Hey, no, hold on. Sunnyside has some
Sunnyside kids.
That's where Vega's from. That's where Echemadia's from. That's where Robin Bravo Young's from. One of the assistants at Iowa State now started and ran that program. There is at least one program in Arizona that's tougher than nails.
That is a stud.
Yes, they're producing some dudes.
And then do they still have the Sun-Kissed Kids program down there?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's a big time program.
I'll tell you a really, really quick, funny Arizona State story. At Big 12 this year, I work a table at Big 12, so I get to be down there on the floor and kind of blend in. It's pretty cool. But anytime an Arizona State, it drove me nuts. Anytime an Arizona State kid was on bottom and they would stand up, if they don't return them quick enough, it's a stall call. Zeke Jones in the corner would immediately start counting 1, 2, 3, 4, trying to talk officials into stall calls. And I'm not going to lie to you. I think there was at least 2 or 3 that he talked them into because he would only count. He would count to like 3 or 4, and the ref would be like, "Bam!" And I'd be like, "Dude, he just stood up. What are we doing?"
That's funny.
We were dying laughing at the table because he would just start counting and counting. I was like, "Oh my goodness."
Moving on to 165, and this is another Penn State guy, the 1 seed, and he is absolute monster. Like I think by the time time's done, that you can put him in a conversation of maybe one of the top 10 college wrestlers of all time, and that's Mitchell Messenbrick. And I don't think anybody in this weight class is going to beat him. And I know a lot of people were excited about Ladarius Lockett, which a local kid, Stillwater kid, stud, but he's one that kind of at the end of the year wasn't having the same success he was at the beginning of the year. His style, he likes to stay on the outside for some reason. I mean, it's just what's his work. I ain't criticizing it because dude's probably going to All-American. I think he could battle for third or fourth, and he probably should have been a Big 12 champ, but he didn't. But I mean, he's going to be a national champ for OSU. I just think everybody in this bracket is wrestling for second place.
There's no
And
doubt.
I think it's going to be.
This is probably the easiest lock pick of them all.
Oh yeah, not even. It's just easy, and I think it's going to be. I don't think Joey Blaze is going to make it to the finals. I think Mikey Caliendo is going to. That's my pick. One of my picks. I think Iowa's going to have two of them. That's the guy that I think is going to continue to streak for Iowa in the finals. But Iowa's not going to get the finals. I think it's going to be Mitchell Messenbrick over Caliendo. If I did have to give a dark horse to win it, it would probably be EJ Parco from Stanford. I mean, and then my dark horse to outside the top 10, which probably ain't a dark horse. It's Will Denny from North Carolina State.
Yeah,
that
was the one I was just looking at too.
Probably should have been seated higher, but
Messenbrink is probably the easiest lock to pick. But you know what? It's the NCAA tournament, and everybody said the same thing about Gable last year. So I do think he wins it, and I also have Caliendo against him in the finals.
I like Mikey.
Yeah,
I like the way he wrestles, presents himself. It just sucks, kind of like Lockett. It just sucks. It's like the old saying: all these great players played in the Jordan era. I mean, you're wrestling in the bracket that's the Messenbrick's era right now.
If I were to pick, and this is not fandom, I promise. If I were to pick a dark horse to win it, I do think it would be D, and it's only if D were to just open up and let it fly, because he's got the tools. He just is, whatever it is, he's struggling to just let it fly. And if he were to get to Messenbrink, I could see him, because I do think there's a good chance he gets there, because I don't think Nico Ruiz will ever beat him again. And it's a shame that he got beat.
No.
It's a shame that he got beat by him, because there's a chance that he gets seeded elsewhere if he wins that match. But
if he wins that match, he's probably the 4th seed or 3 seed, and
he could have.
Mikey might be the 4th
he might
seed.
have gotten on the other side of the bracket. There would have been an argument for it since they split this year. My dark horse, or my outside the top 10, might be Ryder Downey at the 11. He's done it before. He hasn't looked as good this year, but it's in there somewhere. Andrew Sparks at the 13 is tough. Yeah, there's Patty Gallagher and Braden Scholes are both pretty tough. Matter of fact, I have Scholes finishing 8th, and I have Hepner finishing 7th, and he's the 9 seed. So I do, and I have Sparks finishing 6th. So, and Denny 5th. So my 165 bracket was kind of crazy.
Go over. Is this Mitchell's last year?
I'm not I think so. I'm pretty sure it is.
If it is, I'm going to make a bold statement that D will be a 3-time national champion.
I would agree with that. He's going to have to find a little more offense on his feet, but I think he will.
Yes.
I'm not
and
too worried.
It might be a little bit of gamesmanship with these freshmen at OSU at the end of the year, kind of taking the foot off the pedal maybe a little bit, but I mean,
we'll see.
Never know. It's a long season. It's a grueling season. This is the best of the best wrestling each other, so it's tough. Now we're going to go to 174, where the 1 seed is another, if it will load, is another Penn State guy, Mr. Levi Haynes. 2 seed is Simon Ruiz from Cornero at 16-0. Then you got Minto, 3 seed. You got Carson,
Karchla.
The Ohio State Karchla, which I like him. I like how he wrestles. This is, I mean, you got an Oklahoma guy that's right there at number 12, Carter Sherbert. He can All-American. I
Yeah,
mean,
he had a good year.
Lenny Pinto, who went from Nebraska to Rutgers, he's seeded low. Patrick Kennedy's the 5 seed. I mean, and then the OSU guy's the 8 seed. I mean, from transfer from Penn State because probably partly because of Levi Haynes and them. I mean, this one, I don't think it's as clear cut for a Penn State guy as some of these other brackets are because I mean there's some talent there. I mean I could see how do you say Alex, is it Facundo?
Facundo.
I could see him beating his old teammate.
Levi's going to see a ghost in the quarterfinals, baby. He got beat in the semis by an Oklahoma State guy last year, and he's going to see it. It's going to be a freaking ghost walking out across the ring. Facundo's going to get it done.
I mean, I will say my finals pick is I'm going to pick Levi Haynes, and I think he will be wrestling against Minto for Nebraska, and I think Minto will win it. Now, my dark horse to win it would be Facundo because I think he has the talent, and he can do it. And then, dark horse, the guy outside the top 8 to win it, I'm going to go with Carter Sherbert for an OU guy, get him back on the All-American train, and maybe help build some momentum in that program moving forward.
You know what I genuinely believe is going to happen is that Cam Steed's going to make the finals.
You
look at that.
I completely
look at that. Look at his path.
I forgot. I thought Cam. For some reason, I thought Cam was in the 184.
I mean, he's got to be. No. He's got to
be. I'm glad you point. I'm changing my pick. I think Cam Steed's going to be in the finals, and I'm going to make a statement. I think Cam Steed's going to win it.
He's got to go through Simon Ruiz and Minto. Yeah. I think he beats. After watching him at Big 12s, I think he can beat both those dudes.
He's hot. He's on a streak. I mean, and that's a Collinsville guy, an Oklahoma guy. I mean, Missouri recruits Oklahoma very well. They got
Brian Smith. I went to his camp in high school. Brian Smith is the head coach at Mizzou is a good dude. Really good dude.
They got one of the Roller brothers on their squad. I mean, but I'm glad you pointed it out because for some reason I overlooked it. I got Cam Steed in the finals.
Cam gets it done, baby.
I think he wins it. I
think there's a chance. If I were to pick a dark horse, I would say it's Facundo because I think there's a chance he can beat Levi. Here's the problem. While I think there's a chance he beats Levi, I still don't know that he would make the finals because I'm not confident in him against Kennedy or Karchla because they both wrestled the same way. So while I think he could beat Levi, I don't know that it'll happen. And even if it does, I don't know that he makes the finals. I still think Levi probably wins it. And I think he wrestled Cam Steed in the finals. I haven't picked this weight yet. I got to finish my brackets either tonight or tomorrow. But I think Levi wins it. And I really think there's a chance he wrestles Steed in the finals.
I mean, Cam's hot right now. That was exciting to see him win the Big 12. It was awesome. I mean, good for Missouri. Missouri, hopefully they can build their program back up a little bit, but they've always had a pretty good program. I'm glad that they're back in the Big 12 and not in the MAC.
There's some
to me that made zero.
Yeah, that was stupid.
To me that made no sense.
There's some really interesting outside the top 10 possibilities. Danny Wask is tough. He's 6. Let me think here. I just looked through all of them. Pinto.
Iowa State guy.
NJ Guyton. That guy's tough.
Yep.
Sema at the 12. That guy's tough from UNI. I'm squinting looking at this because it's on my laptop, so it's hard to see.
Yep. But no, I think this is be a fun bracket. Now we're going to go to maybe a bracket that a lot of people are going to talk about. One of the biggest stars in this tournament, and he's got a brother at another weight, is the 184 bracket, which I know he dealt with some injuries, and if they're in the middle of the year, and I don't know if he's all the way healthy, he might have been the number one seed if he would have stayed healthy the other year, and that's Angelo Ferrari. He is, but this one is it's a good bracket. You got Sinclair from Missouri who could win the whole dang thing. I mean, Rocco Welsh had to beat Ferrari in overtime, and then he had to win another one in sudden victory to make it win the Big Tens. And then you got Conway from FMN. He's the 4 seed, 32-2.
Yeah, that's
Max McNally.
Franklin and Marshall. That guy he went on a run at Cliff Keen right before Christmas and kind of burst onto the scene. And so they knew that he would probably be a pretty high seed because he didn't really wrestle anybody that was going to beat him after that. So his record alone and then a good finish at CKLV got him a high seed. So that'll be interesting.
Yeah, he's got 34 matches. That's a lot for the college.
He's got a tough dude in the second round, though. And if I were to say just off the top, who I might pick, well, you know what? He got hurt at Big 12, so that makes me reel that one in a little bit. But the 13 seed, Isaac Dean, is incredibly tough to score on. Dylan Fishback at the 12 is tough.
Yeah, 12 seed. That's a good pick as the one outside. I mean, you got Silas Allred at the 8 seed. I mean, this could be a exciting one. But I mean, Zach Ryder, 22 seed for OSU.
Zach just needs to. Zach has to. He's got to find a 1 or 2 matches in there. If he could beat. He's got Cartagena Walsh from Rutgers first round, and then if he could win that one and then beat Nightenbach, the 6 seed from Wyoming, he'll have a chance to place.
I am going to pick. This is the other guy that
I knew that was where you were going, man.
I'm going to pick Ferrari to make the finals, and I'm going to pick him to beat Rocco Welsh in the finals. I think he finally gets the job done over him. I'm picking Angelo Ferrari. Now, the guy outside of that, those two that I think can make a run to win it, would probably be Dylan Fishback. I mean, he's 12 seed, but people don't understand. Wrestling in the Big Ten is like playing football in the SEC. It is just power after power. So it's like you're looking at his record. He's got 8 losses. Well, those guys that he lost to might win the national championship and get second place and be all Americans.
He's wrestled Max and he's wrestled Angelo and he's wrestled Rocco. He's wrestled all those dudes.
So that's my guy that's my dark horse and my guy out of the top 8 that I think is going to all American is Dylan Fishback.
I genuinely think the national champion is between the 2 and the 3 seed. I think Sinclair or McAnally wins it.
Sinclair's good, man.
And I'm going to tell you what, I watched Aiden Sinclair at National Duels put a saddle on Max McAnally and ride him for like a period and a half, and McAnally had no answer for it. And I was sitting mat side watching it. And so for that reason, McAnally's not beating him. And I don't think Sinclair's getting beat by Welsh either. I think McAnally wins it. Or not McAnally, excuse me, Sinclair. Sorry. Sinclair wins it.
Who's his one loss to? Who did he lose to?
He got beat by Angelo at, I want to say it was at National Duels in a barn burner.
See, my only hold up on Angelo is I don't know his health, because once he knew that he wrestled and once he knew that he got top 8 to make it to the national tournament, he medical forfeited out the rest of the Big 12, and or Big 10, and he didn't wrestle the 3 or 4 weeks before that. So to me, if Angelo was 100% healthy, I think he would win it, not easily, but I don't think he would. I think he would be the clear-cut favorite, but that would be my only hold up on Angelo is how healthy is.
He's so boring to watch, dude.
I know his brother's the same way. It's the same way. It's just, but it gets the job done.
They win. It drives me nuts.
So
outside, I'll give you a dark horse real quick, and then we'll move on. Ian Bush out of the 17's tough. He could be a guy that could surprise some people. Fishback's a good pick. I gave you Fishback or Isaac Dean. If Isaac Dean gets healthy, that guy is really hard to take down. He'll keep any match close and find a way to fight one out. And I'll tell you, watch Zach Ryder. If he can win a match or two on the front side, he'll have a chance. If he gets beat early, he's in trouble because he's going to cross bracket with one of those quarters and semifinals with some dudes that he's probably not going to beat.
Nope. So it'd be fun. Okay, then we go to 197, and this one is another Penn State guy, as the theme of some of these brackets is the number 1 seed. But then you got the Missouri transfer, Rocky Elam, as the number 2 seed at Iowa State. 3 seed is Stephen Little, who's holding true and blue to Arkansas Little Rock. He hasn't transferred out when he probably could have went to one of these other big name programs. And then Sonny Sasso, who's finally healthy, and after what happened to him at Ohio State and stuff, and at Virginia Tech, and he's the 4 seed. DJ Parker, OU's high seed at number 8. You got Joey Novak at Wyoming. I mean, this is kind of a Big 12 heavy, dominant bracket a little bit. I mean, you got Gabe Arnold, who, program guy. That's the type of guys you want. And if when Brands talks about need vetting people, I think if you put True Sermon Brands, he wants more people like Gabe Arnold. Gabe Arnold has had every opportunity to leave. I mean, had the starting job. Oh, Angelo comes in, don't have the starting job. Blah blah. He's wrestled at 3 different weights, I think, this year.
And
now he's going up to 197 this year for the tournament, and got beat out early in the Big Tens, but it's got an at-large bid. I mean, he's a guy that is outside the top 20. That if he gets on fire, he can make a run at this thing.
Hey,
he could definitely.
I actually thought he got an at-large bid as well. They qualified like 9 or 10 dudes at that weight, so he actually qualified.
Oh my Lord!
I thought he got an at-large, and my boy Harley he corrected me on that and said, "No, dude, he qualified." Because I saw him on the bracket and thought, how the heck did he get an at-large bid? He didn't wrestle enough matches at that weight. And he said, no, he qualified like 9th place. It's like, that's ridiculous.
So another good name, Max Stout from Pittsburgh. That's a
tough second-round match for Cody Merrill.
Yeah, no, so and then you got the OSU guy, another freshman.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm gonna to this one. I think it stays as the seeds. I think the finals will be Josh Barr versus Rocky Elam, and I think Barr's just going to be too much for Rocky Elam. I think Barr's going to walk away as a national champion. I think my dark horse that can make a run at it would be Cody Merrill. I mean, I mean, he has all the tools, but again, he's one of him and D and then Landon at the end of the year. They weren't having the success as they had at the beginning of the year. Maybe it's fatigue, I don't know, but I mean, maybe it's just finally facing a tougher competition. But I think Cody has all the tools that he could make a run. My guy outside of the top 8 that I think will All-American is Gabe Arnold. I think he will pull an upset in that first round and be on his way to a top 8 placement.
Who's Gabe got first round? Where's he at?
He's got Justin
Rademacher,
from Oregon State.
That's a winnable match for him for sure.
Yeah.
And then Camden McDaniel's an All-American, but that's another winnable match.
Mm-hmm.
The thing about Gabe is he's always going to be in a match because he keeps it close. There's not a whole lot of offense there, but he keeps matches close, so he'll always be in one. I think that I would probably agree with you that it'll probably be Barr and Elam. But my dark horse is also Merrill because I do think there's a chance that Cody Merrill will beat Elam this time. My concern is if he does beat Elam, we'll have to get through Little as well. But I do think there's a chance that happens.
Yeah, he could.
Cody knows how to. Cody's game is his difference maker is he can ride almost anybody. He can keep almost anybody in the game down for at least a minute and get that riding time. He is committed to the ride, maybe more than anybody I've seen all year. He is committed, boy.
There's some guys committed, but like Cody's not letting you.
Yeah, he's like, you're not getting away.
If you get up, you're earning every bit of that.
Let's see, dark horse. Oh man, there's some good ones. Evan Bates is pretty tough. The Mizzou guy of the 25. Uh, let's see. Luke Geog out of the 12. He's tough. Bennett Berge out of the 13. If I were to pick one, ooh, probably probably Camden McDaniel. That's kind of a cop out because he was an All American last year, but he's the 11 seed, and I think
No,
him or
it's
Max
a good pick.
Stout. Max Stout's a tough dude too. So either one of those,
Yep.
I think will probably All American.
Now we move on to usually what is the star of the show, the big boys, the heavyweights. It ain't the same heavyweights that we grew up watching. This is a
No.
different breed of athlete now being heavyweight, and you know, and when they're talk all the year talk about younger, and then you had the three in the Big Ten that always battled and talked about. The one that kind of got lost in the talk, and I even admit that I kind of lost track of him a little bit, and he's the 2 seed is Isaac Trumbull.
Mm-hmm.
It's 18 and 16 and 0. I mean, the dude's a 2 seed, and he on his side of the bracket. I like his draw. I like it because he avoids Ben Cutter, he avoids Nick Feldman and AJ Ferrari, and then he's on the opposite side of Younger. He's got Tate Galati, or however you say his
Tate Gadali.
Gadali, and then you got Connor Doucette on the side. But I think he got the
Hey,
better draw.
you forgot to mention the 5 seed Nick Feldman, who's beat Ferrari multiple times this year.
Yeah,
He's also on the other
that's,
side.
yeah. So that top side of the bracket, you got Batista, you got Feldman, you got Cooter, and you got AJ Ferrari. That is tough. Like Ferrari or Batista, whoever makes it out of there, well, they may not make it out of there. Or Feldman or Cooter, they're going to have to earn it. They're going to have
Nobody's
back-to-back tough matches.
beaten Younger.
I don't think
That
so
is
either.
a giant human being who is really
I think
athletic.
I think it's going to be Younger versus AJ in the semifinals, and I think AJ is the one just because he's so boring and is slow and keeps it close. Maybe he can frustrate Younger, but I think my national champion is Younger, and I got him beating Trumbull. I think this is a 1-2
Mm-hmm.
matchup. Now, if who can make a run out of those two, I think AJ could because AJ's done it before. I mean, but like him and his brother is like watching paint dry when they
Oh,
wrestle. It is
God, it's boring.
so boring. I mean, my pick outside of the top 10 or out of the top 8 that can maybe make a run is man, I don't know, like the Penn State guy, Cole Morshula, who's not 9 seed. That's kind of
Mirasola.
Marisola. That's kind of a cop out because he's a 9 seed, but it's. I mean,
I think
that's
Younger and
kind.
Trouble make the finals. I think Younger gets it done, but I do think that's going to be a better match than people think. If I were picking somebody, who Jimmy Mullen out of the 16, the Virginia Tech heavyweight, that guy's tough. I think he could get it done. Braxton Amos in the 12. Those two dudes are both really tough heavyweights. Coy Hopkins, the 14. There's some good heavyweights in here that are seated middle of the road. Hunter Katka has been there, done that. Nathan Taylor's the 6. Man, there's some tough. Connor Doucette has Luke Luffman first round, and Luke Luffman from Illinois is tough. Like that's gonna be a war.
Not a cakewalk.
And then gets Zuba from Arizona State, who's
Yep.
tough as well. I mean, Christian Carroll's the 18 seed. I'm telling you, if 2 weeks ago, if you'd have told me Carroll was the 18 seed, that would have been my hands down pick to All-American. He did not look very good at the Big 12 tournament. So I'm really curious to see, Christian Carroll's an Oklahoma State transfer that went to Wyoming. So we'll see what happens there.
Yep. I mean, yep. I think it's Younger now. So my question about this weight is: if Younger's not hurt last year, does Wyatt Hingerson even make it to the finals?
Yes. Younger's a different human being right now than he ever has been before. Younger getting hurt, I think, from watching that guy at 197 and then so he was a 97 pounder and then went up to heavyweight. And the year that the guy was out, his MO was always that he was never in shape. and I
Yeah.
think some of that was probably the weight cut. Moving up to heavyweight, getting bigger. I mean, he is an absolute animal. But I think that the year off from the injury actually helped him. Just from an outsider looking in, it seems like it did.
Had a couple comments. Nick Lawler, he says Mendez has been in some close matches in the finals in the last couple of years, but he finds it hard to see anybody beat him. He would love to see Lachlan McNeil make it to the finals. He doesn't want to see Van Ness make it to the finals. He feels like he wrestles too loose in matches and thinks he can get in trouble with takedowns. And he said Zargo from Wisconsin also has looked tough.
Yeah, Zargo's
So,
tough. I agree with his opinion on Van Ness. I really do, because I think what I think is going to happen with Van Ness is it's happened multiple times this year. He's gotten taken down sometimes more than once early in matches, and then his shape is so good that he just pushes people over the edge and is able, like Carter Young takes him down to his back and is winning 7-0, and then literally gets beat 30-15. That's 45 points in a D1 college wrestling match. That's
Yep.
nuts. He's not going to do that to the dudes at the national tournament. He's not going to do that to Casey Swiderski. Swiderski's in shape.
No.
So if Swiderski gets to that match and gets a takedown early, Van Ness is not going to break Swiderski. So I agree with him. I don't want to see Van Ness make the finals either. I don't think he's good enough to win it. I think there's guys in that weight that are better.
I think Swiderski will win it. I think Penn State will win the team title. I think they will have at least, I think they will have Barr, Messenbreck. They will have Levi Haynes win it. I don't think they will have as many national champions as people think. I think they'll have at least 5. I think OSU will have 2 with Swiderski and Jax Forrest. Now I think OSU could get up there to 3 or 4. Depends on the matchups. I mean, now Penn State could end up having nine national champions.
Mhm.
You never. I mean, no, because Davis and Mercilon ain't going to win it. I think so. They could have 8, but I don't think it is. I think Penn State will have. I'm going to put if you had to put an over under on it, I would put it at 4.5 national champions, and I will go over and say they get 5.
Lillidahl, Messenbrink, Haynes,
Barr. Then you got PJ Duke or Marcus Blaze and Van Ness. So you got.
I'd probably take the over, because I think one of those 3 might get it done. What we didn't talk about is how often there's a chance that Oklahoma State matches up with Penn State in like the second round, the quarters, the semis. Chances are pretty good that Oklahoma State's not ready to do that yet. They're not quite there.
No.
But how crazy would it be if they go into some of those matches and knock some of those Penn State dudes off? Because you go knock off even like 2 or 3 of those dudes early in the tournament, the team score just got a whole lot closer.
Whole lot different.
Whole lot closer.
Oh, I think OSU will finish second in this tournament. I think the top 3 will be Ohio State, OSU, and Penn State. I mean, I think Penn State will win it heavily.
Yeah.
And I think the margin between OSU and the Oklahoma State and Ohio State, the 2 OSUs, I think will be very close. And I think that will come down to, like you said, maybe a couple blood round matches where it's going on. Does Ryder make a run? Does Dorsett make a run? Do Spratling make a run to the semifinals, which will be the difference maker in these team races? But like you said, if OSU can catch some lightning in the bottle, which we've seen them do it, like in the Iowa match, Iowa won a couple matches. We're getting scored, and the next thing you know, boom, just a run from OSU. If they can do something like that and get a couple upsets, you never know. Then that starts creeping in Penn State's mind. Hey man, they're right there. Hey man, we're supposed to win this match. Now we're not competing for a national title. Now we're competing for placement stuff. So,
yep.
No, it's exciting. I pull it up on my ESPN app and try to watch every match, the MatCast and stuff like that.
You bet.
That it's exciting. If you ain't watched it, watch it. You'll enjoy it, especially with. I mean, the program, I think for the next couple of years, the popularity of the sport's getting bigger and better. And I think next couple of years, it's going to not be a one-trick pony. I think it's going to be a couple ponies racing to win that race. But, that's all we got on the bracket and wrestling. Scotty, I mean, thank you for coming on. And folks, I mean, Scotty's a living testament of you can go through a hard time and be in some dark places and turn around and be living a glorious, lovely life. He's got a beautiful wife. Well, you got 3 kids now, Scotty?
4 kids, baby.
2, 4 kids. So yep, you're up there with me and Guy, 4 kids.
Yeah.
I mean, living the life. I mean,
Oh, Guy and I have 3. We got the same. He's got 3 boys and a girl. I got my 3 oldest are boys and a baby girl, man. And also have an
see,
adopted 20-year-old that we are incredibly proud of. That's in college at NEO and is going to get married probably this summer and move on to NSU. We're really proud of him as well. So, it's I really mean that when I say that wrestling has gotten me through some of the darkest times in life, made some crazy life choices in my 20s and came out of those. God's blessed me with a beautiful family, beautiful children, and my wife and I are youth pastors at a church. So blessed beyond measure, dude, and just incredibly thankful for the lessons that wrestling taught me. And just to your point, my last thing is that wrestling's on the move, man. I heard somebody say recently that they felt like girls wrestling kind of saved boys wrestling. And to a certain extent, I think there's a little bit of truth to that because the girls wrestling really started to blow up and it was at a time where men's wrestling had become a little bit stagnant, where if you weren't a diehard like me and you, that you didn't really pay any attention to it. And if it came on TV, you changed the channel. And duels are setting records every year as far as attendance and viewers on ESPN, and wrestling's on the move, man. It's not just a sport where a bunch of guys in tights go out and touch on each other like people think anymore. It's growing in
yeah,
popularity. It's blowing
yeah.
up and just excited to be a part of it, man. And I appreciate you guys having me on. This has been freaking awesome.
No,
So
appreciate you, Scotty. Appreciate you coming on, and everybody just God bless and take care and watch that wrestling tournament this week. There's March Madness and Matt Madness, but appreciate you guys. Make sure you follow us and subscribe us on all of our platforms, and have a good night.
thanks, Mo.